Okay, so on this question, we have got A equals 1/2, capital A equals 1/2 little a plus B. So by the way, we'll treat the capital A and the little a like they're just totally different letters. Totally different. Okay, so we're trying to solve for little b. So anyway, let me bring it down here where we have a little more room. Better. There we go. Capital A equals 1/2 parentheses little a plus little b. Okay. First step. Well, we clearly have fractions with an equal sign, right? And that's always something we need to deal with. So when you have, right, we have fractions and an equal sign. So when you have fractions with an equal sign, you know what to do. Multiply all the terms by LCD over 1. And the LCD is the denominator. So the only denominator is the 2. So I'm going to come in here and go 2 over 1. And over here, just 2. You don't need the over 1 because it's not a fraction. Now, you might wonder, should you put it on the A and the B also? No. Whenever you have parentheses, let me write a note here. When there's parentheses, only multiply the front of the parentheses, because on the next step, it will distribute inside, right? On the next, you only need to do the front, and you really have done the inside. What do you mean you have done this? Because on the next step, whatever's in the front's going where? Boom, boom. Remember, it's like water outside of a floodgate. These parentheses are like walls holding back the water, and when the walls come down, the water goes in. So if you want to affect these guys, you just treat the water outside, it eventually is going in. So that's why we do only the front of parentheses, because it's going in. Okay, and so now what's going to happen? Step 2, you know what we always do, cross cancel and multiply the leftover. So boom, boom. And so what do we get? 2 capital A. And this is just 1, right? Because, you know, if you want to write 1 over 1, you can, but what's 1 divided by 1? It's just 1, right? Is that good? And now you know what to do with parentheses. We just distribute, don't we? Boom and boom. And what is 1 times A? Well, it's just A and it's just B. It doesn't really do anything, does it? Because 1 times A is just A. I mean, if you want, you can put a 1A and a 1B, but what is 1 times A? It's just A. What's 1 times B? It's just B. It doesn't do anything, right? Multiplying by 1 never changes a letter or a number, right? 1 times 5 is just 5. You don't need it. Okay, now let me put in the wall of separation. And now it's where we come back, we keep our eye on the ball. What are we trying to solve for here? What do we want to get alone? Well, they said B. They could have picked any letter. They asked us to get little b alone. So, okay. So here's little b. He's down here and he's saying, I want to be alone. Well, then you know what to do. We subtract the little a, don't we? Because it's added. We always do the opposite, and the opposite of adding is subtraction. So I subtract the little a. And what does that leave me? 2 capital A minus little a, right? These guys right here just go down, and they just need to stay next to each other. They can't combine in any other way. They're just different letters. A capital A is different than a little a. And so we just do it just like that. So we got B alone. So let's recap what we do. What do you always do with fractions with an equal sign? Multiply LCD over 1. So I took that denominator and put 2 over 1, 2 over 1, and just the front. When you have parentheses, you only do the front of parentheses because that's going to eventually distribute in. And so these canceled. This is just 1, and 1 times A and B is just A and B. Then we had to look up here and said, okay, we're trying to get, I probably should have circled this. We're trying to get B alone here. It's all about getting B alone. So then we just subtracted the A, right? Now you might wonder, why did you subtract the, well, it's because it was added. So I subtracted a from both sides, little a, subtract little a from both sides. So it's 2 capital A minus little a. So that's the answer. We'll type in here 2 capital A minus little a. So you have to watch your uppercase and your lowercase on that to put that answer in correctly. There we go.